So they talk about in the Garden of Eden, they talk about as we merge into the number 7, they speak on Adam and Eve, and they speak on how there was a forbidden fruit, right? And this forbidden fruit was not supposed to be consumed. And of course, we know the story, we know how it goes. I mean, anybody that has read the Bible, which I'm sure most people watching this has read the Bible, pretty much what happens with that story is that, of course, they end up eating the forbidden fruit anyway. And then from there, the story goes on, and then they pretty much, where I want to point out is that they discovered each other's nakedness. Very key. See, they discovered each other's nakedness in eating of the forbidden fruit. And this goes into the number 7, actually, because this goes into them not understanding that there's different types of energy. Like we say that all numbers are energy. And there's different types of energy. However, when you get into the number 7, see, the number 7 captures all types of energy. It's like the masterpiece. Even in the 7th letter of the alphabet is the letter G. And we have to cover all of this, dealing with the number 7. So we have the letter G and dealing with the number 7. And then the number 7, we see a V representing moving. Because 7 deals with energy, but it represents movable energy, or moving, the ability to move energy without essentially walking. I mean, without essentially using your body, essentially. Not just walking, but essentially like without using your body, but being able to move energy without essentially having an outside force. And this energy with the number 7 has never really been mastered because, of course, none of us are innocent. Of course, we engage in intercourse ignorantly, though. Ignorantly, not realizing that when you enter into that experience, it's almost like saying it's almost like a life or death scenario for a male. When you decide to release, now there's different levels to this, of course. Like when I take you into 11, that's when we're going to talk about the Kundalini. That's a different type of sexual experience. But the 7 deals with the typical marital sexual experience of one man and one woman, having a sexual appetite and sharing in sexual needs. And this is very important. I'm not saying that it's not. It's important in human makeup. However, if not mastered, this will lead to your death. And what the Pleiadians did, see, they discovered, and they knew we had all this energy with Kundalini and sexual energy, because like when you ejaculate, for instance, or if you have an orgasmic experience, you're moving energy without essentially using your body. You're essentially taking your vessel, and you are taking your vessel and taking energy and moving it internally within your vessel, and then it exports out your crown chakra when you have an orgasm. So you're essentially moving powerful energy. I'm talking about to the point where you got to think about it like this. You can power a whole city with your human body, and they know this, as far as the energy that you produce. Like literally, seriously, you can look this up. So if you could power a whole city, you got to think about how much energy are you producing when you ejaculate, or when you have an orgasm, or when you like for females or males or whatever, that's why I just say orgasm. So when you orgasm, because there's different levels of orgasm, how much energy are you really expelling? How much energy are you really channeling? And where is that energy going? And is somebody collecting that energy? And that's what we're going to eventually talk and move into as we talk about Belzoni's chamber. See, the Pleiadians got caught up because they learned the secret was in the sexual energy in the Kundalini. However, they used plastic. You see, and that's where they, kind of got caught up at. And they began to use plastic, which is essentially oil. The oil of the planet mixed into some latex with some other ingredients, but all plastic is oil. So they begin to use condoms and stuff like that, and they begin to, these ET beings introduced this into our culture, so we begin to give our energy to plastic. and they were storing this energy and using this energy in certain types of experiments. And this has actually led to the computer of what you know today is nothing but a tool of sexual, or the computer, or if you want to look at it like that, the computer, the concept of a computer, because there's different levels of computers. Like there's computers and phones and computers, and cameras and all the types of different computers and motherboards and stuff like that. But I'm saying the concept of a computer essentially came from the Pleiadians, because they knew they had to come up with some form of a medium, because really the human body was really where I'm getting at, was really the ultimate operating system. And they discovered this when studying the number 7, coming from out the number 6 and the sexual experience and getting into the number 7. They discovered this, and they needed something artificial that would collect all the data of the human experience and store it into, which was started out as a computer, which eventually led to BankNet, and eventually led to your internet. And what people don't know is that sex itself is probably one of the most deadliest weapons used in trading, even to this day, based upon this grid that these Pleiadians set up to fuck up all kinds of trade deals and big multi-million-dollar deals. They use sex on a deep level, though, even more than money, though, because it's hard to capitalize sex. Very hard to capitalize, because it's a secret internal experience. So what you're gonna have to learn how to do to beat these guys on this type of level when you playing on this game, and when you get into the energy game and dealing with energy as currency, is learning how to essentially use the earth as a tool, a sexual tool to get energy. Like there's different parts of the earth where you can get magnetic energy, tetionic energy, like magnetite, and it will, because you actually have magnet to your body, right? So what happens is that you can actually begin to correspond with the earth and have a sexual experience with the earth in different grids and different areas when you do your meditations. And this is how you build, the design builds on these chambers to break the spell, the sexual spell that will eventually lead to your death. Because I'm speaking on the fact of, like, when Adam and Eve ate this fruit and they began to engage in this experience, you notice they didn't live as long. Like, the body is designed, if you go into this experience correctly, you eventually will have sex with, male and female. I'm saying, like, I'm not saying that will never happen, but I'm saying if one was, basically where I'm getting at is that if one was able to channel their energy correctly from connected to different sacred sites, and begin to store that energy, and then once they connect with their twin flame or soulmate into the real sexual experience, you should be able to produce, every time you have sex, you're supposed to be able to produce $1 million every time. That's what I'm getting at. This stuff is worth currency. So you should have something to show for it, or something to be able to produce for it, instead of giving it away to this plastic scenario, because that's what's happening on many levels, though. And we're going to talk about that more, because that's how the Pleiadians, see, that's the game that they play, because they don't want to play for real on the alchemical level. So they use plastic as a medium to kind of come in and out of these dimensions, whereas leaving a stain, when if you do it the real way, through the actual using the body, the metals and stuff in your body, and the calcium and minerals and stuff like that in your body, and connecting with the earth, you can still play this game and capitalize off everything that you're producing with your body as a currency, eventually leading to more than millions. To be honest with you, more than millions once you master it, the grid that you set up for yourself. So 7 goes into the grid and understanding the grid. So 7, again, is movable energy, moving energy without moving, using your kundalini and using your chi to touch, to have sexual experience without actually physically having that type of experience. So we're going to get into, swiftly now, moving to the number 8, because the number 7 goes into the number 15, and we'll come back to the number 7 when we get to the number 15. But we're going to go ahead and jump into the number 8, going into real life Bells on these chamber information on how to house this energy, channel this energy, store this energy, and use this energy as a communicative force to generate currency for yourself, to generate relationships for yourself, everything that you want and need, from just using from nothing, the energy that you naturally produce, and using yourself as a tool and taking back control of your real life sovereignty, though. This is spiritual sovereignty on another level, though. So just follow me as we go along, and I'll go back into the Pleiadian information as we get into the number 8. But then the number 8, actually, we're going to go into housing the energy, though, how you use different sacred sites once you set up a relationship with different sacred sites, and then you go back to your main base, your Belzoni's chamber, you're going to be at all of those places. That's what I'm getting at. And that's what we're going to get into the number 8. Like, you may be, say for instance, you may be in the south, you know what I'm saying? But then you may have established connections in the east, the west, and the north. And then when you go back to the south in your main pyramid or your Belzoni's chamber, you're going to be at all of those places. And you're going to learn how to communicate back and forth and see what's going on. You're going to be able to remote view these places and see what's going on in these places. Physically, though, once you establish and use the right crystals and minerals and the right rituals and meditations, we'll get into all of that. You'll begin to do this and understand this. So thank you for listening and watching. As always, I'm going to go ahead and shut down. Just a little knowledge for the day. Enjoy your evening. Stay vigilant.